So mail order is actually like a series of photographs and a film, and you're showing the film, but I made the photographs 1 year before I did the film. Mm-hmm. And so this was like the first time that I actually started to have men in my work. Before I was only photographing women, and I had a lot of questions like, you know, why do you never have men in your work? And then it sort of, I kind of thought, oh, what would happen if I did put men in my work? And the moment that you have like a masculine presence and a masculine figure in the context of a woman who is very beautiful or who is blonde or who looks sort of like Marilyn, the image becomes really charged, like it becomes loaded immediately, you know, depending on the power dynamic, where the man is standing. So I wanted to play with that. And I was really inspired by a photograph that I saw of Marilyn Monroe on the set of her last film. Mm-hmm. And she was sitting on the floor crying, and she was surrounded by a group of men, of course, because she's always surrounded by men. But she was the focus of the picture. So all the men behind her were all cropped out. And it was just like all the men from the waist down, and you could see their hands. And I thought, wow, this is so amazing. Like she's in a moment of distress, Marilyn Monroe, but it appears that she's like accessorizing with men. Mm-hmm. And she's objectifying the men, and the joke is on the men, or I saw it that way. And I started to see all these images of these glamorous types of women, and I would just sort of like crop the men out and you know, to see how it would change the power dynamic. So that's sort of what started the mail order thing. And of course, like the mail order concept is, you know, you have a catalog and you see what you want and you order it and it comes in the mail. So it's like similar to the mail order bride. So I ordered these mannequins and I began this work. As I was working on the series, I realized how amazing it would be if I could bring the pictures to life. Because then it becomes even more kind of pregnant, the whole thing. Like it becomes even more hilarious. She's blonde. All the different ladies are all blonde, but they're all different versions of this sort of Marilyn archetype. Mm-hmm. Through all the years. Like there's your Jane Mansfield, there's your Marilyn, there's Anna Nicole Smith. So I wanted to find women that were all very similar, but a little
very feminine.
Yeah, super feminine. But it's a performance, you know. Femininity is a performance. That's all that it is. And different women perform their femininity, and some women don't perform their femininity. And so I wanted, you know, I felt like I was a woman in like female drag, because it was something like I don't dress like that in real life. Yeah, well, I try to like pick these characters for them that women find like emotional, or what is supposed to be attractive for women. I try to pick like the kind of archetype or cliche in this way. And you know, so there's like, we have Ken, we have Antonio, who's like very like romantic, and so all of these names are really funny, and they all like play on these kind of ideals of what we're supposed to look for in a man. But I guess that's where the irony is, because the female character in mail order is this woman manufactured by men, maybe for men, to play these roles in these films, and she's always the one that's objectified, or always the one that's taken advantage of, or oh, she's so poor, she needs help, somebody needs to look after her. And so it's funny that in my film, even though it's, you know, at first glance, it's seemingly set up in the way that we always see it. But then if you look closer, then realize that, you know, she's the one in power and she's the one in control. And the contradictory nature of it. And I think it depends on who is watching it and sort of the opinions they have. They will take something different from it. Yeah, well, the going back in time to the diary actually came later, and I started first with the pictures, and I really wanted to sort of play off of where I left off with the mail order, but I wanted to flip the dynamic and see if I could flip the dynamic again and do sort of like an inverted version. And I wanted to really showcase the male archetypes, but boldly and upfront. And so I sort of, in the beginning, I had an idea to do like a male modeling agency, and I wanted to, you know, like, again, like sort of a catalog of all these different men that women are supposed to find really attractive. And I wanted to have myself in the picture somehow. And I lost the male modeling agency thing, but instead, I put myself in the picture as if I am like the showgirl, or I am showcasing these men. So you just sort of, you see the man in the middle of the image, and then you just sort of see like body parts of mine. So it's like
those are presents.
Yeah, like I'm there and I'm real. I'm not a mannequin, but I'm sort of the object, or this mannequin is now kind of objectifying me, or is that even possible? In some of the images, I'm like a shelf, or I'm like a chair, like the mannequin is sitting on me. So I really wanted to like be part of the display and find a way to humorously lift up these kind of very flat male characters. And even in some of the pictures, I'm like wearing gloves, and I'm like holding them as if they are so fragile and so precious, and you know. So I made this series of images actually just before confinement. And then when the lockdown happened, I began to like edit the work. And so it's funny, I actually spent like the whole winter alone with mannequins, and then lockdown happened, and I basically just sort of continued. And so as I was editing the work, I was thinking I wanted to like do a written component, because I would like to make a book, and I thought it would be so great to have like a book with like writing. I just think having a book is like a really beautiful way to present the work and to give the work to people. So I really was like having this like book aspect in mind. And then I thought, oh, you know, I don't think I need to write anything. I actually have all the information. And of course, I had saved all of my childhood diaries, and I have like, I don't know, 20 of them. So I started to go back into the diaries, which I hadn't allowed myself to read for many years because I thought they were horrible. And I thought I was so like embarrassed about my writing. Then I'm reading them now and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is like fantastic. And they like, my entries from like 12 to 14, they echo these pictures that I have just produced of masculinity. The language that I use in my diaries as a young girl, it's not even like, that's not something that I would actually have said from my own mouth. It's all very borrowed, and it's like stuff that you take from your friends or stuff that you take from films that you've seen. As a young girl, we're trying to construct this world for ourselves, and we're trying to like understand it because we don't know about it yet. And so we're just borrowing these different things, and it becomes this soup. And there's something, you know, although it's genuine, there's something kind of fake about it and a little bit sad. And you know, there were like 3 celebrities that I mentioned in my diaries. One was Leonardo DiCaprio, and then Brad Pitt and Tom Cruise. I would have dreams of these guys, and then I would write about them. And like now, you know, it's like those were like the 3 examples of men that I had. And that's so telling. Hence, like making it real, like making the little girl dream real. But then you look at the image and it's not real. It's like so fake. So that's also like, you know, I guess that's the joke about the whole thing, is that, does this even work? Is this even realistic? These like constructed ideas never really work. 30, I think there's like 32. And yeah, actually, the still life component came also after. I don't know, I just wanted to play with like, just like, you know, items of clothing and sort of very like, gendered pieces, like the mustache or the woman's like silicone breast fillers or the pearls. So I wanted to have these like masculine, feminine objects also interact with each other on like a still life platform as well. And I think that they still say this, you know, the same story. Now, I mean, we're still, you know, it's still like the lockdown time. So like, I'm not going to be able to shoot any real people anytime soon. So, um, no, I think there's like, I still want to do a couple more projects with them. And the next project I'm working on now is going to be a new film, which will be about my experience as a model. So I actually want to do the entire film with mannequins, with male and female mannequins too. And I will play the character of like my 15-year-old self, and with all of the mannequins, because I think, you know, for like the fashion business, they will be perfect. And there will be like runway shows with crowds, and the crowds will all be mannequins. So I'm so excited, and I'm gonna have to get more. It would be completely different, and you know, working with mannequins sort of started as an accident, because when I started mail order, I actually wanted to shoot real men and have myself in these kind of romantic situations with men. And I got excited thinking about all the different kinds of men I would want. I would want a cowboy, an older man, a younger man, someone who's really rough, or someone who's super strong. And I thought, hang on, you can't just like invite strange men from, you know, from the town to a house in the country and put them in like these intimate situations with you as like Marilyn Monroe. It's just like not cool. Like it just doesn't really, it's not going to work. So I didn't feel safe doing that. And so I thought, oh, I'll use mannequins, but I'll like hide the fact that they're mannequins. I'll try to make them look real and no one's ever going to know. But then I was like, well, it's actually fantastic that they are mannequins. So it was sort of like an accident. I think having the photos and the video really works together, because film is like this all-encompassing medium. So, the experience is so much more different, and it's much more direct. And that being said, I also love photographs, because photographs sort of stay on a wall and you walk past them and you have a thought, or you can sit and contemplate a photograph. And it's something, much more meditative, and you can sort of do it on your own terms. And it says different things, at different times, and its meaning changes for you. And I think with a film, it has a beginning and an end, and you're requested the full attention for that time. And it's like a world that you enter, and when it's over, it's finished. So I think they complement each other very well. And I love this idea of bringing the still photographs to life. I think that because making it real is such an extension of mail order, I don't think I need to make a film for that. But I feel like making my film about my experience as a model is kind of a natural progression from making it real, from showcasing these male archetypes to then speaking about how a female archetype is manufactured, and how that plays out with, models, and how young girls are taken and expected to portray this role to people. So I think that the model film is definitely an extension of the past series as well. I think it's going to be about 1 hour long. There's a lot of information. So I'm hoping end of next year, and maybe I can shoot it in 2 months. And yeah, I think next year, end of next year.